In the heart of the Amazon jungle, a young explorer vanished. Could you survive? Lost, alone. He battled hunger, beasts, and the creeping edge of madness. Could you survive 3 weeks alone in the Amazon? Lost for 3 weeks, countless poisonous creatures, no rescue in sight. This is the true story of Yossi Ghinsberg, a man whose odds of survival were almost zero. Stay tuned to witness Yossi Ghinsberg's incredible story. Hit that like button right now and to find out how it all ends. People say the Amazon jungle is full of secrets. Secrets from a forgotten time. Secrets of life, death, and the mysteries swirling in between. Yossi Ghinsberg was a young Israeli adventurer, hungry for discovery. After serving in the military, he longed for an adventure unlike anything he'd ever known. He sought an escape from the ordinary, a journey where the limits of the known world would dissolve. He'd heard stories about the Bolivian Amazon jungle, promising all this and more. La Paz, the dizzyingly high capital, became his first port of call. In its bustling markets and colonial buildings, he heard tales of a mysterious explorer named Karl, a man who painted stories of uncharted jungles, untouched tribes, and even rumors of lost gold, hidden within the vibrant chaos. Yossi had met someone that sparked an intense need to explore. The idea of raw adventure, of profound discovery. It was intoxicating. 2 others soon joined their budding expedition. Marcus Stam, a quiet Swiss teacher seeking peace within the wild, and Kevin Gale, an American photographer whose wild grin mirrored Yossi's own thirst for the extraordinary. Armed with machetes in hand, and the world weighing on them, they entered the thick jungle. The humid air carried a mix of decay and exotic scents. Every step took them deeper into the unknown. Each morning they experienced a beautiful symphony of life, from the howler monkey's warning to the colorful parrots flying around. For the first few days, they felt excited about their progress. Each morning brought a feeling of endless opportunities. Giant butterflies shimmered, tree roots whispered secrets, and the rainforest hummed with an energy that made old worries seem tiny. Days stretched into a grueling week. Karl, confident with maps, transformed Yossi, Marcus, and Kevin into aspiring explorers. Insect stings marked dedication, while shared stories around campfires hinted at discoveries to come. Days blurred into nights as the jungle swallowed them up, making the sky feel like a distant memory. Senses sharpened, attuned to the wild's language as Yossi found thrill in subtle clues. Around the fire, Karl told exciting stories of lost tribes, hidden waterfalls, and even buried gold. He promised the trip would change them forever. Sometimes they got scared in the jungle, feeling alone and nervous. But exploring was fun, and they forgot their fears quickly. Another day dawned, then another, and still, only their relentless jungle remained. Doubts grew stronger with each tiring day. The jungle seemed to stretch forever, and they were losing hope. Days turned into a desperate fight to survive. They needed a miracle. Marcus could barely walk. His infected feet throbbed with every step, slowing them down. Decisions had to be made. Karl suggested turning back. They wouldn't reach the hidden village on time. Yossi and Kevin wanted to keep going. The idea of a raft surfaced, a dangerous plan, but maybe their only chance. It was decided. They would continue. All four built the raft, a glimmer of hope amidst fading spirits. But on the churning river, Karl's confidence started to falter. They barely survived the rapids. Each stumble on the raft deepened suspicions, Karl's demeanor fading, marking the expedition's decline. Somehow, they managed to reach the riverbank. Doubts echoed in the humid air. Karl's promises seemed empty. Kevin didn't trust him. The river had stripped away Karl's lies. Harsh words flew, shattering their fragile unity. Next day, it was time to decide. Karl, his confidence gone, wanted to turn back. Marcus, hurt and scared, followed. Yossi felt a knot in his stomach as they disappeared into the trees. With a mix of fear and desperate hope, Yossi and Kevin decided to push forward on the raft to explore uncharted regions. They were worn out, but they pushed their simple raft into the rushing river. The water roared beneath them, wild and unpredictable. They were alone, their fate as uncertain as the river ahead. The river, a merciless force, had other plans. Rapids crashed against their fragile raft, tearing it apart. They fought the overwhelming current, but in the end, they were swept away, in different directions. Yossi was swept away in the current, clinging to wreckage, and somehow reached land. He lay there, broken and alone. Kevin's fate, a haunting question mark. Had he made it? Or was Yossi truly the last one left? Now alone, panic became a constant companion for Yossi. Finding food transformed from a challenge into a desperate struggle for survival. Unripe fruits caused agonizing cramps, insects offered little nutrition, and clean water was a fleeting luxury. His body got weaker, and every time he stumbled, he felt his strength slipping away. The rainforest changed. It wasn't just a challenge anymore. It felt like it was trying to swallow him whole. The constant rain made the ground dangerous. Insects bit relentlessly, leaving painful red marks. Every night he feared in his weak shelters. Hidden predators prowled and snakes slid near. He couldn't find sleep, and exhaustion seemed to suffocate him. Alone with only his thoughts, his mind started to betray him. He was so exhausted he started seeing things. Trails disappearing, Karl's face flickering through the trees. He had desperate talks with imaginary friends, finding brief comfort before the harshness of reality returned. During times of intense sadness, giving up seemed like the only option. He thought about letting himself go, to let everything slip away. But despite the constant suffering, something inside Yossi resisted. A strong voice encouraged him to keep going, holding on to the smallest glimmer of hope. Even alone, with nothing but his willpower, he would fight. He would survive. With every painful step, his sanity hung on the edge. Hope, once a guiding light, flickered and faded. Hunger was like an endless monster, chewing at his insides and mocking the lively world around him. Food occupied his every thought, and his dreams were tormented by impossible feasts. Time became meaningless, blending into a dull struggle, interrupted by moments of sheer terror. Was that rustling a jaguar stalking him, or merely his imagination? Days blurred into agonizing weeks, marked only by harsh rain, deepening wounds, and the haunting soundtrack of the relentless jungle, leaving Yossi trapped in a living nightmare. Yossi, always capable and resilient, felt vulnerable. He was exposed, vulnerable in ways he'd never imagined. Being alone was torture, his voice fading away from lack of communication. As Yossi embarks on the most dangerous part of his journey, show your support with a like, and make sure you're subscribed. One night, overcome with despair, Yossi surrendered. Tears mixed with the mud as he collapsed into the rain-soaked ground. Even though he gave up, a small part of him still fought back. Accepting the possibility of death brought about a terrifying sense of clarity. If this unforgiving wilderness was to be his end, he would at least meet it on his feet. This moment felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. A flicker of desperate determination sparked back to life. The odds were stacked against him, but Yossi refused to give up without a fight. The oppressive silence of the jungle was broken only by his ragged breaths and the snapping of twigs beneath his feet. Days blurred into a haze of hunger and exhaustion. Then, a flicker of recognition. Those same broken branches, that same oddly shaped tree, his own footstep. He was walking in circles. Despair clawed at him, but even then, a stubborn flicker of hope ignited. The river, his only landmark in this desolate maze, now represented his only chance for survival. Every step was a battle. The jungle fought back, thorns tearing at his tattered clothes, exhaustion threatening to drag him down. Hunger gnawed at his insides, each breath a ragged gasp. Yet, fueled by the desperate need for escape, he pressed on. Days bled into a blur of pain and relentless determination. Finally, through a break in the foliage, he glimpsed a shimmering expanse, the river. The muddy riverbank fought to hold him down. Each inch gained a battle against exhaustion. Each breath felt like dragging a stone through his chest. His waterlogged clothes clung like chains, his battered body screaming for surrender. His bruised body was one giant ache, screaming for him to stop, to give in. Despair threatened to drown him, whispering that it would all be over soon. But deep inside, a stubborn flicker of defiance refused to die. With a groan that echoed through the empty trees, he forced himself up. One trembling hand grasped at a root, then another. He hauled himself forward, inch by painful inch. He would not become just another forgotten skeleton, bleached by the jungle sun. With every agonizing step, a defiant fire grew hotter in his gut. He would not die here. He would survive, even if it meant clawing his way out of hell itself. The river shimmered, taunting him. His legs wouldn't hold him anymore, hunger twisting his insides. He slumped against a tree. This was it. Then, through the leaves, a boat. Fear and desperate hope warred within him. Was this a cruel trick of his exhausted mind? He tried to scream, but only a whisper escaped. His arms waved, but he was too weak. Hope flickered out. Then a figure on the boat turned. He knew that face. Kevin. Kevin's eyes scanned the shore. A flicker of movement, just a trick of the sunlight? No. A figure, slumped, impossibly thin. His breath caught. Yossi! His voice was rough with shock and desperate hope. Kevin searched for days, the river stretching on forever. The villagers whispered it was time to give up. But something inside Kevin wouldn't let him. They'd humored the foreigner searching for his friend. The jungle surely swallowed. Kevin took him back to the village. Then they saw Kevin dragging a barely alive figure from his boat. Yossi! Gasps cut the air. Hands flew to mouths, then shouts of disbelief turned into joyous cries. This broken man was proof. Sometimes miracles happened. Physical wounds faded, but his ordeal left scars etched on his soul. Yet, within that relentless fight, Yossi Ghinsberg discovered incredible strength, a force he never knew he possessed. His survival wasn't luck. It was a testament to the unwavering power of the human spirit. It begged a vital question. In the face of utter desperation, could you do the same? What depths would you reach to survive? Yossi's story is not just about him. It's a mirror reflecting the resilience that lies dormant within us all. Yossi Ghinsberg's story proves the will to survive is stronger than we realize. If you were inspired, make sure to show this video some love with a like. And subscribe for more incredible stories of human resilience against all odds.